Okay, everybody, welcome back to Southern Fried TCG. Sitting across from me is Jeffrey, who placed second today at West Orange Comics and Games at our Energon qualifier here. He was actually running his Aerialbots. So anybody interested in knowing anything about a newer Aerialbot build and to actually place second in a 6-man tournament, let's go ahead and see. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeffrey?
My name is Jeffrey. I just recently started playing competitively in the Transformers TCG. Kind of started getting some of the boosters a while back. Just didn't really collect much at the time because I was waiting for like a community to build up for the game because it's still in its experimental phase. And then when I got word that there were some locals in my local card shop, I just started going and I started learning a lot of new tips and strategies in order to improve my deck. Funny thing about how I managed to acquire the whole Aerialbot team, one of the first boosters, I pulled a Springer, I think that was from Wave 3, just right off the bat, and one guy wanted to trade it, and he asked me, well, what do you like? I'm like, I like combiners, Aerialbots is my favorite, and little enough, and behold, he had like the whole thing, and the combiner cards, so just like I traded that along with a few extra stuff for the Springer, and that's how I got the team in one swoop.
It's pretty good. I mean, I gave me a run for my money. I wish we might have to play out because,
survived by one
sure,
health.
I'm pretty sure I still would have won that second game because I think I could have got through, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I was definitely probably one of the hardest Superion decks I've ever went into.
Yeah, funny thing about the build, I actually kind of based it as best as I could off of this one build from the Gen Con Top 8. Unfortunately, I was missing quite a lot of the cards, but so far it's been winning me a lot of matches. It's been doing really well so far, and I'm still improving on the deck. This is my only deck at the moment, so until I can figure out what I want to build next.
All right, and you're trying to get qualified. There's still one more qualifier in the Central Florida area tomorrow. Well, there's actually a couple more. I know Waterford Lakes, I think, is next weekend.
I think they had. Yeah, I think they said they're having another one on Monday because I went to the cool stuff in Maitland, I think last Saturday or sometime before that.
Right.
Yeah, because they have multiple stores.
All right, and then we have one in Clearmont tomorrow.
How far is Clearmont? Is that further from here?
It's a little bit further from here, but I mean, I'm more than fine if you come out. You meet me here or something.
What day is that?
Tomorrow. It's 22nd, Sunday.
No, unfortunately, not. I'm working that day.
I was gonna say, because then you can ride with me, but oh well. So, but you still got Waterford.
Yeah, that I can make it, depending on when I get off. So far, I've been pretty lucky for my work schedule. When I'm able to get off, it's just like.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and, without further ado, we will go ahead and jump into the deck profile. It is a little bit blurry on some, but if we give it,
I'm an adult, I
there
spent
it
$10
goes.
recently
Come on.
$20 on 4
All
different
right.
cassettes that actually turned into cassette transformers.
And all right. So as we can see, the characters. I mean, if you didn't know the characters. Oh, sorry about that. That went a little oopsie. Whoopsie.
Whoops.
All right, fix that. All right.
Good.
I know we got a little bit of glare on this character, but that is Fireflight. If you don't know his ability, he will go ahead and explain the ability.
Yeah, I'll go through each one of them. So we'll start with Fireflight first. So in his alt mode, his ability is Brave. If you're familiar with that utility upgrade card, basically all of your enemy's characters have to attack him if able. And then when he's in bot mode, I've hardly ever used this ability from his bot mode. He's usually the first one I have die because I'm spamming on his Brave ability. If he has 4 damage or more, his attack is increased by 1. So, pretty useful. Then next we have Alpha Bravo. He is definitely one of my main hitters in this deck because he has an automatic Pierce 3 if I have his attack high enough. One thing I always, when I was starting out with him that I had messed up was I always thought he gets the attack and then the pierce, but I'm learning a little more about piercing. It still kind of confuses me a little bit from time to time. It's just minimum damage, I think, always, right? That's why it always goes through.
Correct. Easiest way to remember pierce is pierce is equal to, like, you have pierce up to the number of pierce equal to your attack. So if your attack outweighs your pierce, you get that much pierce. But if your pierce
Outweighs my attack.
outweighs your attack, you only get what is your attack's up to.
So the thing with Alpha Bravo is that he has a Pierce 3 in his ability in bot mode, but his attack is only a 2. So so if I don't have any like upgrades on him, or I haven't played any actions that would buff his attack, his maximum Pierce would be 2 as a base attack. And then in his alt mode, when I was playing against you earlier, I hardly ever run into plane decks that much, so I keep forgetting in the first round that if an enemy plane attacks you, they automatically take 1 damage when he's in his alt mode. And then Silverbolt, he's usually the first character I will flip in a match, because when he goes the bot mode, he does 1 damage to the enemy, any enemy. And then his alt mode, I hardly ever use this one ever. It's just a bold 1, but also when this attacks, you flip at least a white, an orange, and a blue. You flip in the bot mode, but that never really happens because the way Aerialbot's played, it's mostly a blue deck. So, and you just want to inflict as much direct damage as possible, whether it be from like effect or pierce damage outside of normal attack damage. Then you have Skydive. He's my second tank guy because in his alt mode he has Tough 2, so that's 2 more battle cards you get to flip. And a blue deck, that's very, very helpful. Then when he's in, I also hardly ever use his bot mode ability that much.
Healing at 1 from your
Yeah, when he declares an attack, you can heal damage from any of your Aerialbots, including himself.
Correct.
So, and then lastly we have Air Raid. He has no ability in his alt mode. He pretty much, out of all of them, he has the highest attack out of all the Aerialbots in his bot mode. And he's also very nifty with his nice ability. It's basically, when he inflicts damage to an enemy character, you can scrap that character's upgrade. So he's, for a blue deck, he's a walking vaporize.
Yeah, I mean, you got rid of my superior jetpack a couple times.
Oh yeah, it's very useful.
It's definitely helpful.
Yeah, and then of course when you get the Enigma card with any combiner deck, they can make Superion with these guys, and this is where the game gets interesting. So when Superion is formed, you can do 3 damage immediately to any character, and when he battles, he has bold 1 when he attacks, tough 2 when he's defending, which is much more useful. Again, because this is a blue deck, and then one of his best parts of his ability is that he has a Pierce 3. Correct. So normally, what one combo I like to run on him is if he has a lot, he'll already pretty much take damage because the components will already take damage as well. So you're able to equip Energon Axe onto him. So that gives him Energon Axe is a +3 attack and Pierce 2. So that brings him up to a 9 attack, Pierce 5. Well, if you play any other Pierce increasing cards like an action or something like that, he can pretty much get those big hits in.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as you can make him tank a lot of hits. One thing I go through a lot of trouble especially against orange decks, because I know that's the meta right now, is that I'm going up against a lot of orange decks that have Pierce, specifically RC. Earlier I went up against a orange deck that was running the blue motorcycle one, not the G1 version, and Demolisher. Those two in a combo were very, very fearsome. Demolisher because his defense counts as his attack buff. And RC, she just does pierce damage for all the orange that you flip. So it's very difficult to deal with. So it's like, I have to take these two down as soon as I possibly can. And when you also have a Battle Master in that combo of a team, it's, whether it be mostly Lionizer, because you can just stack the bold on top of them.
And so y'all know he's actually talking about the winning deck from tonight. That would be somebody else who was running. If any of y'all watch Wrecking Rule, his was an idea from Frenchie, I believe, who made it. I don't know if he made it or just modified it, but yeah, it's actually pretty disgusting. So
it's better than bugs.
So, well.
Although, funny thing, he does run a bug in that deck.
Yeah, and so did Frenchie. It's the same characters.
Alright, that does it for the characters, so let's go into...
And another,
Oh.
did forget the one big useful thing with this too, though, is always definitely that when you that he combines, you do that 3 damage.
Yeah, it really helps. It KOs if something has like a lot of effect damage on it, or just damage to already, and it's like, it's just like 3 damage away. Oh, I can just kill it before attacking.
Yeah, did a trigger happy very well.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
trigger happy sitting with a Pierce 10 is very neat.
again, the way you play Aerialbots is you have to make it a blue deck, have them tank a lot of hits as much as possible, and inflict as much like effect and piercing damage as you can. So it gets your opponent every time, no matter what they defend with if they're running a blue deck. Alrighty, so that's it for the characters. So I can go into my deck here in the battle cards. Oh.
You can say right here, he's within view.
Alrighty, so so we have 3 copies of Pep Talk. Excellent card because it's not just a blue pip, but it's in Yu-Gi-Oh terms, it's basically a pot of greed. It's a free draw 2. Running 3 of those is awesome. Then I run 3 armed hovercraft, mostly because Silverbolt, Fireflight, and Air Raid are all ranged characters. So when you equip this to a ranged character, it does 1 damage to all your opponent's characters. So that helps rake up on the effect damage, and also increases their attack by 1. I also run 3 copies of Nobel's Blaster. I might, until I get more Energon axes, this is going to be at 3 for now, because I only have 1 copy of that. I'll get to that in a bit. Basically, what it does, it increases your attack, character's attack by 2, and grants them Pierce 2, only if they are attacking a Decepticon. This also is an excellent combo piece I use on Superion, which gets me out of the jam. Let's see, and then I also play 3 copies of Smoke Cloak. Grants you tough 1, so that's 1 additional battle card that you get to flip when he's defending. And it also has a black pip on it, so that also helps increase pierce damage. One thing I always like to do when it comes looking for black pips, make sure they have blue pips on them, so that way I can stack all that. Let's see, and then I also run 3 copies of Vaporize. Basically, it's a blue version of Ramming Speed. Just scrap any upgrades that your enemy has that can be very pesky, especially if it's a Battle Master. Gotta watch out for Battle Masters.
All sorts of upgrade hate. Everywhere you look, people are hating on upgrades.
3 Handheld Blaster. No, I never use this offensively. It's just for the pips.
I mean, that's pretty much where that and Improvised Shield always stands.
I know. I hardly ever... I get lucky sometimes. I don't flip into this very often, but when I do, sometimes it's like, yay, I needed that. Most of the time it's being scrapped when I didn't really need it. It's like when I keep ending up flipping into this when I attack instead of defending. It's like, really? But he's useful because of the pips. Then I run 2 Field Communicator. You can equip it on a Specialist. When it's equipped on a Specialist, that would be on either Skydive or Alpha Bravo. I can play another upgrade. Or no, was it an upgrade? No. I'm thinking multi-tool because I used to run that. You get to scrap the top card of your deck, and you may get to play that card. So sometimes that has helped me in a jam. One of my matches earlier today, I was able to scrap an Energon Axe from the top of my deck and just equip that right onto Alpha Bravo for big damage. Let's see, I also run 2 copies of Infernal Breath. This allows me to tap characters of 5 stars or more and immediately inflict 3 damage to any of my opponent's characters. So, again, instant direct damage.
Direct damage is always good, man.
Yeah.
Always good.
And then Calculated Strike. This is a black pip, so if I flip it when a character is attacking against them, pierce. But it also, this action grants any character that I have a +2 attack and +2 pierce. This is also very useful, especially on Alpha Bravo, because he's like your main piercer. If you haven't gone into Superior yet, he's your main piercer.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is that all the Aerialbots, actually, I think just combiner decks in general, they have a lot of low defense. I mean, look at Superior on here. I mean, he has like 6 attack, but he has 1 defense despite being a combiner.
I mean, but he does have the tough 2.
True, and he has 39 health. So I know there are other combiners like I think Optimus Maximus has like 45 health or something like that.
I mean, Volcanicus is like, I forget what he is. I think he's in the 50s. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
he's got, like, I'm very surprised at some, yeah, I kind of wish his health
Well,
was a little
he's
higher.
really hard to actually get Volcanicus.
Well, true, it's Dinobots. I mean, Dinobot Combiner, if you're a Team 1 fan, you know the Dinobots never combined back in the day. Let's see, and of course, since this is a combiner deck, running 2 copies of Aerialbot Enigma, and it's a green pip, so whenever you flip over to this, you can scrap a card from your hand and add this to your hand, so good swap out. From most builds I've seen with Aerialbots, they mostly just run 2, because you're going to get mostly always. And also, so you keep the number of blue pips higher than anything else. I also run 2 copies of Force Field. This is from Wave 3, this is from Wave 1. I just like having the 2 different artworks.
I try to do that too. Anytime that, like, if y'all gonna make two copies of art and it's a key card, I'm gonna try and put a copy of each one in there.
Yeah, gives you a little variety. Let's see. Force Field, this is very good in this deck since it's mostly defensive. If your character would take 5 damage or more, you can scrap this card deck and that character will only take 4 damage no matter what. Very useful. Unless if your enemy uses Bashing Shield, because you know a lot of orange decks runs that, just get through pesky armors, but it can help in the jam, especially on him. Let's see, I also run 2 copies. I just revamped this deck last night, so I managed to get another copy of this card. 2 copies of Diagnosis repairs 1 damage from one of my characters, but it's also for draw power. If your entire starting team was Autobots, which all the Aerialbots are, so it also helps with that extra draw power. And this I just added recently. I have yet to play. I haven't had the chance to play it yet because I kept flipping into it and going into the scrap. Heavy-handed, so this is excellent for combiner decks, I think. I'm debating whether or not when I get the more necessary cards, if I should take it out, or maybe just run 1. If you attack a character that has fewer stars, it gets a Pierce 4, and it also grants them +2 attack. So on the Superion, this would put them at +8, Pierce 7. So that's, and then since this is also an action, so if I have like Noble's Blaster or Energon Axe on top of them, that's a lot of direct damage right there. Let's see. And speaking of Energon Axe, that's my only copy because I have yet to acquire 2 more to get the full playset. That's definitely a lot better than Noble's Blaster, I think. The one thing I keep forgetting, though, is that you can only apply it on damaged characters. So it's more of late game harm. Again, when Superion has damage on him, because the damage from your any character's KO goes to him. It grants +3 attack, Pierce 2 damage. Very, very useful. Excellent card. I only ran 1 copy of Bravery because I thought there was an interesting little piece of tech you could pull with it with Fireflight, but I was correctly not rolling with that, so that's gonna go out. Let's see, and I only have 1 copy of this. I'm probably going to take this out because I've hardly ever played it, and there are better cards that grant you attack buffs and Pierce. It's also decent because it has a blue pip. If it granted Pierce, it would be a much better card, in my opinion. Let's see, we also have System Reboot, just in case if I have a bad hand and I just want to...
Or if somehow you've managed to dwindle your hand down to 1 or no cards, scrapping 1 or scrapping none and drawing 4.
Scrapping down or drawing 4, yeah. So basically, yeah, if you have no cards in your hand, yeah, like he said, it's basically a free draw 4, and you take out your opponent's hand. So even though you don't see what's in it, unless otherwise, 1 copy of Brainstorm. Also, it's good for blue pip and allows me to play additional actions. So hardly ever do it. Hardly ever get in this. Mostly it just goes in my flips. Bigger they are, and you get another copy of this. This is the opposite of heavy-handed. So for all my individual bots, if you go up against a character that has more stars than your character, all the Aerialbots, since there's 5 of them, since max amount of character stars you can have in your team is 25, all the Aerialbots are 5, so that evens it out. So it grants them a Pierce 4 if they go up against a character that has more stars, and also a +2 attack. So really helps, big time. Let's see, I also have 1 copy of Dismantle. Mostly it's a black tip, grants the Pierce, and it's also an additional upgrade scrapping card. So in case if like all your vaporizes are gone or anything like that, so it can be helpful against other characters. Doesn't wipe out utilities though, only weapons and armors. And then final card in the deck, 1 copy of Surprise Attack. It just grants your character Pierce 3 until the end of the turn. So simple action. That's it for the main deck.
And notice all that Pierce. It's one thing I keep telling a bunch of people, and especially the Wave 4 coming soon. Superior Devastator, even the Stunticons, they are going, or Minosaur, there we go. They are going to become much, and even also Wave 3 Shockwave. They are going to become such better decks, so much better cards. These blue Pierce decks are just going to become nightmares.
That's the nice thing about blue decks. In the current metagame, it's all orange right now. So I give a lot of orange decks a hard time going up against this because you don't see too many blues. I can't think of any other blue deck except I played a Cosmos earlier, but he's fun to play against. It makes the game drag along because it's blue deck versus blue deck.
Yeah.
So it's just like, either I do enough Pierce damage or Cosmos manages to KO one of my characters automatically, but that doesn't matter against a combiner because he has more stars than Cosmos.
Yeah.
Alright, so going into the sideboard, it's not, mostly I've been focusing on the main deck because I'm still acquiring cards for that. The sideboard, not so much, but after today's locals, I'm definitely going to revamp this. I had another copy of Bravery. That's probably going to go out. Let's see. I also had extra padding. There's a specific reason, actually, I had these specific side cards, and I'll show you once I show my sideboard character. I also had Bravery. It's basically what Firefly's ability was. Characters can only attack that character equipped with this if able. Extra padding. This is an Inkstrip Stain. First time I went up against this against actually, it was a Cosmos deck that I first saw this card. Basically, it's an armor. When you play one, you can, if you have a full playset, you can keep stacking it all in the same turn if you have all of them in your hand. So basically, it grants tough 1 to flip an extra battle card when defending. So if you have all 3 of these on your character, that automatically gives them a tough 3, which is pretty good. And it has a green pip, so you can also swap out with a card in your hand. So that's also interesting little defensive mechanism you can use. Heroism. So if basically if you have an upgraded character and another character would take damage, the upgraded character would take it instead. It's a nice little utility. Also, again, blue pips. And this one, I do have a full playset of this. I'm just going to put the other 2 in here. Infiltrate, this is... I kept sideboarding this, but I never drew into it. And I regret that I didn't have 3 in the sideboard.
Yeah, that's a definite 3 of in a sideboard.
Yeah, especially against... basically what it does, when your opponent plays an orange action, you can just scrap it and negate its effect. So... there are times I really wish I had this against some like pesky actions. There was one local, not this one, but I think I went to another qualifier last week. Someone played, or no, it was in our locals I played. Someone played Peace Through Tyranny on a Battle Master, just to automatically KO it and get that extra turn. So, and at that moment I kind of wish I had this. So, yeah, very useful card against orange decks. And then 3 copies of Inspiring Leadership. Draw 3 cards and place the top 2, or no, draw 3 cards and then scrap 2 cards from your hand. So mostly it's draw power. And the reason, minus this, all these additional blue defensive cards were here is because my side deck was Cosmos. In case if combiner attack wasn't good enough, I decided to play this, and the combo I had in mind, I never really got the sideboard, and the only reason I have Cosmos as my sideboard character is because from a lot of Aerialbot builds I've seen, most of them run like either Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, which for me I don't have one, and trying to get one is very difficult. And that or Omega Supreme I saw, or someone showed me that some people might do, is an interesting piece of tech for some reason. I have yet to find the article that they showed me. So this was like, I was going through my character cards, my spares that I had, and this is like the best character I can sideboard at the moment until I can get something better. And the combo I had with him, I would combine him with Firefly and Skydive, because it's all just defense, just whacking into him, and then Skydive with the tough, and then all these additional side cards just to protect Cosmos. Definitely Cosmos or any of my other characters. And then this was for the added draw power. So when he is battling another character and you shuffle your deck while battling, he can automatically KO a character he's attacking with 12 stars or fewer.
Give you a recommendation though, since as long as he is in your sideboard.
Yeah, and
10, 11, 16,
that's
21. Leaves you with 4 open stars.
Yeah, I thought about Ultra Magnus armor, but I was like,
I would, especially because him being there, I would do the 3 orange, blue, white, the fuel cache. Scrap the top 3 cards.
I do have a copy of that. That is true.
I can give you
because three of those, and then 1 copy of I don't know what I would go, but I would do another mix pit probably, maybe, or no. I would probably do a copy of Universal Network Access. Draw 3 cards.
Oh yeah, that would also work. That would also definitely work. Yeah, so a few of the cards, that's pretty much for the sideboard. That's my whole deck. Some of the cards I am still missing: Energon Axes, Security Checkpoint, that's a big one that I need to acquire. The Marksmanships, I've seen that in a lot of Aerialbot builds. Let's see, the other copy of The Bigger They Are. What else was I missing? I think there was one other. I'm missing like 12 cards to make this deck like full powered. But so far, despite not having those cards, I've had there's some decent substitutes in there that I threw in.
I can think of some the one more card that I didn't see in there, which I was surprised at, and I'm assuming it's because you either don't have any, or you just. If not, I'd like to know why you opted away from it. Sec check.
Sec check?
Security checkpoint.
Oh, security check. Yeah, I don't have it. That's why.
Okay, yeah,
I just said
that other double.
It's like a $16 card.
Because I checked your scrap on one of our games, and I'm like, okay, there's 3 double blues. They're all handheld blasters. And almost through his deck.
I could one shot him.
Okay, so all 3 of his security checkpoints are clumped up, and I based my attack off of that, and I was so wrong.
Because I didn't have the card. Okay, not having cards can make your opponent misplay. But yeah, that's a card of acquiring, which I heard that that is a Wave 1 card, and I heard that Wave 1 was going to stop being printed, so I immediately went to TCG Player and got myself a Wave 1 booster box. I'll be getting that next week. So hopefully, it's like 30 boosters, so hopefully I'm having a high chance of getting those security checkpoints that I need and be able to add those to this deck. The other card, now I remember that I need Laser Cutlass. I need a playset of those.
Oh, yeah,
that's
nice.
a definitely
That
good
is
one.
Wave 3, and you got yourself what?
I still have 2 more packs to open.
Okay, so you could. But, all right, everybody. Well, thank you for checking with us. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. And hopefully we can get Jeremy his qualifier here soon, and he'll go join us the group up, because as of right now it has me, Tony, and John. We are all 3 qualified, so hopefully we can get some more going too. All right, everybody. Like I said, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you.